I am Miss Nancy bringing you another episode of Confessions on TV3. Tonight, a young lady says that she is a woman that got pregnant and decided not to keep the pregnancy. And after what she did, her life has not been the same. It's been pain after pain after pain. I need to go out there into the confessions booth, listen to her confession, then we come back here and make a conversation out of it. I'm sure it's going to be a very educative confession. Got a family together? Let's have this one. In this booth, we take every story, every confession. Listen, this is the place to come to when you need somebody to talk to, because here, I sit without judgment. I listened with my lips sealed. And my dear young lady says she has a story, she has a confession to share. And my dear, I'm here for you, listening.
Thank you, Miss Nancy. I have a situation that has been eating me up, and I'd like to share with you.
Okay.
Miss Nancy, I'm a young woman working in the hospital.
Okay.
And I've been involved with a married man.
Okay.
Who has 3 children. Miss Nancy, I never knew about his family.
You never knew he was married?
Yes, Miss Nancy.
Okay.
He never told me he was married.
Okay.
He lived out of town, and so whenever he comes around, we spend time at my place.
Which means you never got to know where he lived?
No.
Wow.
Miss Nancy, when I got to know about his family, I broke up with him.
Okay.
But after the breakup, I realized I was pregnant. Almost 3 months pregnant.
Okay.
And I didn't know what to do, and so as a health personnel, I went to the pharmacy to get some drugs to sort myself out.
Okay.
Miss Nancy, I've been bleeding continuously, and the bleeding is never stopping. It's been 8 long months.
My goodness.
Yes. Miss Nancy, imagine thinking your period is over only for the bleeding to continue endlessly. It's been so painful.
I'm a woman, I can relate.
And emotionally exhausting. I haven't been able to find peace. I feel trapped in this situation. The pain is so overwhelming, Miss Nancy. At times, I feel like ending it all. I really need help. My family knows about this man. He's been good to us. He spends money on us. But I'm not able to talk to my parents about it as well. I really need help, Miss Nancy.
But have you sought for medical help?
Well, I visited the hospital, but I wasn't able to tell them that I tried to abort
a pregnancy,
and that was causing the bleeding. They just gave me some medications, and it's still not helping. I don't know, sometimes I feel, or does the man, you know, has a hand in all these. I don't really know what's happening with me. Miss Nancy, please help me.
I'm sorry, my dear. I'm sorry about what you're going through, and I pray that you get the help that you need. She's not sure why she's not healing. Now, even as a medical person, she wants to believe that there is another hand involved in this situation of hers. A very sad thing. As a woman, I can imagine if your menses overstays its welcome. I'm sorry about your situation. We'll get into the studio and have a conversation about this confession. If we sit like this to listen to great stories, I mean, sometimes it's pleasant, sometimes not so pleasant, but yet we're able to learn from it It is by kind courtesy of MTN, and we say that MTN, everywhere you go, MTN is like the whole of Ghana. If you're not on this network, where would you rather be? Guys, you heard her confession. The girl is in pain. This woman is going through a lot. Yes, anyone? Please, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Miss Nancy. Wow. The lady has done a lot listening to the confession. But we are all human and we have flaws.
Yeah.
And right now, her life is at stake and we need to treasure her life. That is what is more important here. Because on confessions, we are here to help people like her. She can also see a gynecologist.
Okay.
Yes, to ensure that
Specialist?
a specialist, yes, to ensure that she receives specialized care to address the potential complications she may contract from the abortion. And lastly, we know that this will boil down to mental health. So I would advise her she reach out to a mental health therapist or a counselor for her to cope with emotional distress, guilt, or suicidal thoughts. Thank you.
Yes.
Miss Nancy,
Yes, my dear.
he said we should treasure the life of the lady.
Yes.
But does she value herself? I mean, does she value her life?
Well, she realized that the man that she had taken seed for is not an available man.
Yes,
And she
somebody's-
probably doesn't want to be caught in any
Absolutely.
situationship.
Somebody's husband.
Yes, she didn't know.
She didn't know, but
Yes.
I believe she got to know along the line.
And that is when she broke up with the man,
Miss Nancy,
trying to correct her
Miss Nancy,
wrong.
Let's say, okay, the man is, you didn't know that he's somebody's husband.
Yes.
But at least, did you ask questions? When you were getting to that with him, did you ask questions? Did you find out?
Oh, you know your brothers, the
Miss
sons
Nancy,
of Adam?
These ladies also, you see, the consequences is a very good one. It's the perfect one she has gotten now. Because, Miss Nancy, if you don't ask questions when you're getting into a relationship with somebody, this is what you get. At the end of the day,
you know Accra. Friends are coming from as far as the other regions of Kasoa. Others are coming from all over. People are in traffic for 2 hours to get into town. When they are done with work at 5 p.m. because of traffic, they even need a place to crash before they drive back and all of that.
Wow.
And how would she have known?
Miss Nancy, she just considered what she's going to benefit. That's what they consider at first. They don't think about what is going to happen afterwards. So we can't cheat nature. And whatever you're doing, whether good or bad, there's a result coming.
Well, this young lady seems to have gotten a certain result. But we are not interested in the result she got. Out of her actions, we're here to help her. To help me help this young lady tonight is Lady Gifty Deborah. She is a counselor, Favored Counseling and Support Services. Please, let us welcome Lady Gifty. Lady Gifty Deborah. And with her, oh yes, oh my lady, you look great. Good to have you. Please, make yourself comfortable. How can we have this conversation with only Lady Gifty? Definitely, you know that on Confessions, the professionals are always available and handy. And tonight, a beautiful lady, doctor, has made herself available to share her knowledge with us on the show. Dr. Omaima M. Arab. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on Confessions, my lady doctor. You look stunning. For a minute, ladies, I thought that abortions were out of vogue. Like, I thought people were not having abortions anymore because right now, are people still having abortions?
Yes, more than you can imagine.
More than I can imagine.
Yes.
With the use of protective, the condoms, both female and male are available. Birth control is available now. Why are people still having abortions? Doc.
All right, so you mentioned something about people are using protection.
Yes.
A lot of people are not.
They are not using protection anymore.
No. They never actually were in the first place.
They don't wear it.
No.
So it's not like they wear in the tears.
Well, there are some cases where I would say once in a while, yeah, it's an accident, it happens. That's why the emergency contraceptive pill is there for. But some people feel like, no, they want to have sex raw. Is that not what they say?
Yeah.
So a lot of people have turned to think they are okay having any disease, but rather than carry a pregnancy, because the pregnancy would announce itself, but HIV won't.
That
STI
is
wounds.
profound.
Yeah.
They are okay having any other disease. It's pregnancy they do not want.
Yeah.
How did we get there?
Sometimes I want to think it's lack of education, but we've tried our best. And to be honest with you, I've had a couple of cases who came, they had actually had an abortion, and you know, they had complications. You know,
after.
it's my role, my responsibility to counsel them on a family planning method before they leave the hospital. Some will tell you, oh, I'll think about it, I'll come back. They never come back. They never
do
Yeah.
for family planning.
They'll
go out there and have unprotected sex again,
Yeah.
and have unplanned pregnancies again.
And another abortion, and I mean, I did it once, I can do it twice, I can do it 3 times. I know the medications to use. That's it.
Quite unfortunate. Quite unfortunate. My lady, the church, are we still, I mean, I was in the Assemblies of God Church, and there was this, style or ways of punishing people who fell from the grace by suspending them from all church activities. In Chi, we used to say, Yachinasai. Person is suspended, they sit at the back of the church, and all of these things. Do you think that is what is contributing to people not taking responsibility for their actions by actually keeping pregnant and having the child and taking care of it?
Thank you, Miss Nancy. I think that the church have moved from that a bit.
Okay.
You know, in the past, you would see some of these punishments being meted out to people who have fallen from the grace.
That's the expression we Christians use. God didn't say, oh, men said you have fallen from the grace.
You have fallen from the grace. So when that happens, I think that people feel maybe everyone is doing it, but as I'm being punished, they may think I'm the only person who fornicates here. So in turn, they would go do some of these things, abort it, so that the pastor will not find out and punish me or whatsoever. But like I mentioned earlier, the church have, not all, but majority have moved from the punishment
the ones to
thing.
punish you and leave you in the grace of the God whom you serve.
Exactly. You are left to God. I mean, the Christian walk now is between you and your Maker. So how you live it and how you succeed is incumbent on you. So pastors have kind of a little shifted from meting out punishment, but not to say that they don't get involved if they find out. They counsel and talk to some of these people, but a little percentage only gets to them. The greater majority hide and do it because now information is available. People Google and search things, even if they know that that could take their life. They would be better off hiding that weak part of them than having everybody in the church point at them and say, do you know she did not get married, and you know,
especially the people that are sinning under the closet,
nobody have found out. Yeah, so we kill ourselves some sort when it comes to our faith, and by virtue of confessions, I will appeal to the Christian body and all other bodies that when we find out these things, we should be a little gentle with the young women so that we can raise them. But before then, we should teach them well. you know, Titus said that the older women should teach
the
younger
younger
women.
ones.
So we should teach them well. We should not leave them to themselves and think that, well, they feel they are on top. So,
They know everything,
you know,
leave them
and
to
then
it.
we gang up as older women and pinpoint at young ladies. Look at her, Omuade, Wasoro, Wabaso. But it is our duty to let them know what the dangers are if you make choices like this.
And for you, the older women, it's not every girl that is a fashionista that is a spoilt girl.
Thank you very much.
I need to establish this. I mean, we went through all sorts when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to be a style coach.
Yeah.
There was just this thing about me that wanted to look out
good.
of the ordinary all the time.
Yeah.
And the environment I was in was not easy for me at all growing up. And yet, I was still a very, very naive young girl. So parents and adults in church and communities mind these things. That's one. It's good. Doc, your hair is covered. Do I take it you are from the Muslim community?
Yes, please.
Do we get that also with the Muslim community?
I want to
And
hear.
if girls, you may not know, if girls in the community are getting pregnant, what would you say to them as a Muslim woman and then as a doctor?
Well, I won't hide that, yes, it's happening. I mean, it's no one has an umbrella over their head.
No.
Muslim, Christian,
Yes.
everybody is capable of sin.
Sinning.
As a Muslim lady, we should abide by our teachings
Yes.
to abstain from sex before marriage.
Yes.
That's the only solution.
Oh, the Muslims also
Of
teach that
course.
you abstain from sex before
of
marriage.
course.
Well, bottom line, all
It's the
religions
same
are the
everywhere.
same.
So, as a medical doctor, what I would say is that there are huge prices you pay for mistakes you make. Maybe
Yes.
not today, but someday. That's all I'll say.
Don't be going about doing it and thinking that you are getting away with it. But Doc, medically, looking at her confession, do you think that it could be probably not just the abortion and that it probably triggered, or it has nothing to do with the abortion? What are some of the medical conditions that can cause a woman to bleed endlessly?
Well, the main thing in women who actually do an abortion is what we call retained products of conception. She has committed an abortion, but the products, everything is not out yet. Even if it's a tiny thing that is still left there, she's going to continue to bleed even if it's a year or two, as long as it's not taken out. So there are a lot of factors we look at when it comes to terminating a pregnancy. Fun fact, are you aware that per the laws of Ghana, it's illegal to commit an abortion?
Established on confession.
All right, so I'm going to state it. Per the
Okay.
PNDC Law 102, Act 29 of 1985, an abortion can only be done under 3 circumstances.
Okay.
1, if the woman was raped or it was as a result of incest.
Okay.
2,
Rape or incest.
Yeah.
You are allowed.
2, if the carrying on with the pregnancy will put the mother's life at risk.
If the mother, the carrier of the pregnancy, may die because of the pregnancy, you are allowed.
3,
Number 3.
if you're going to give birth to a baby that is going to have challenges in life, for
Okay.
instance, within a month or 2, the baby is going to pass away. Maybe
Okay.
not Down syndrome, maybe chromosomal abnormalities,
Okay.
Pateau syndrome,
Okay.
a condition that's not
I'm
compatible
nodding
with
and
life.
pretending I know what you're talking about, but it's French in my ears
more
actually.
like a problem with the baby, genetic problem that will not keep them alive for long. You have
Okay.
the right to terminate. Those are the only
Okay.
3 times you can terminate a pregnancy.
This is good. Now you know. But Doc, how do you know that the fetus would have a short lifespan or may have all of these challenges?
So it's part of the antenatal care we offer women. When they
Okay.
come for antenatal care, we do what we call anomaly scans. So such
Okay.
babies usually would have other associated problems. Problems with the spine, problems with the heart, problems with so many things. So you are able to pick up this baby has a syndrome. Maybe suspected. Women who give birth to Down syndrome babies sometimes know that they are going
Ahead
to give birth to
to a
Down
Down
syndrome.
syndrome baby.
So they are aware. Some people
Oh.
are offered termination of pregnancy
Okay.
and they refuse. They
So
decide
it's
to keep the
keep
child.
it.
Others decide that no, I'd rather opt for a termination of
Same.
pregnancy. So depending on what you find out during your anomaly scan, you're giving that option to choose. You opt to keep it
or to let go of
Exactly.
it. Wonderful. My lady, back into the church, because right now, beyond the family system is the church, that's the biggest, and the Islamic community as well. Listen, there are mothers who, out of embarrassment, would take their daughters to the doctors, or quack, I would say, to get them to abort pregnancies that do not qualify for all the three that my lady mentioned. As a woman, as a mother, how can you take your child through this kind of pain, and why do they do it?
Miss Nancy, is straightforward. People want to keep their image. People want the world to see them in a certain vein. All my mates' daughters have become engineers, and even Auntie Adjo's son married to Auntie Akosue's daughter, who have become an engineer. How come you have not yet attained
Completed
and you
school.
want to bring me embarrassment? So in order to cover the shame and protect our image, we will intend to do that, forgetting about our godly values and, you know,
The God
principles
who sees
of
all
life.
things knows what your daughter has been doing already.
Exactly.
Why are you bothered about me, Adjoa Mensah?
Exactly. Exactly.
This is bad. This is bad. Now I need to go for this break. When we come back, we talk about more. You are welcome back, and tonight's conversation is a confession on abortion. So for a lady, the moment you have conceived, what are some of the things you need to critically analyze in making a decision whether to keep or not to keep the pregnancy? Is the father's life in your life that essential to this decision? Please.
So, yeah, I think it's very essential. A man has a huge role to play in a woman's life and in a baby's life.
Yes.
Take a look at society. Most of the kids we see from broken homes sometimes don't turn out to be the best.
Yeah.
With all due respect.
Yes.
Sometimes the lack of a father as a role model in the life influences a child in his upbringing.
Yes.
A child who doesn't have a father at home to tell him or to guide him, to show him this is how we do it as a man, may grow up and become anything.
I was with this man for a long time. He lived outside of Accra. I never went to see where he lived. He always spent time with me at my end. So I did not know that he was married. The men out there that keep information from their partners that are untruthful, some of them actually lie about not being married. Meanwhile, they are very married.
Miss Nancy, my heart goes out to that young woman, because these days it is very common that people would disguise their real identities. And so, like you mentioned in your introduction, that probably he lives somewhere in Kaswa and the lady is here around Cantonment. How would she know, except something happens and she gets to find out? But I would pray for her that wherever she is, if we can find her, I would love to help her.
Okay.
You know, because she would be experiencing a lot right now. Because in the story, while she was narrating her story, she did say that it's so painful.
Yes.
Emotionally,
Yes.
she's exhausted, you know.
Yeah.
And she said, I took, you know, note of them.
Of the
And she said, besides feeling emotionally exhausted, she said, I feel trapped.
Yes.
I cannot find peace. And sometimes I feel like ending it all.
Sometimes are we not just too hard on ourselves?
Miss Nancy, she is not being, she's just being real. Because now her emotions are everywhere. She's depressed.
Yes.
From that statement, because she's thinking, what have I gotten myself into? And knowing and breaking up with the man, she did say earlier on that he helped me a lot.
Yes.
When I went through school. So she's at that place that she's thinking, will this man come after me someday? Because he may feel cheated. Ebia, ejuma na meyema ono untia me kanwe.
And you want out.
Until
Yeah.
and she's opted out. So her emotions will be all over the place. And she said, I can't seem to find peace.
Yes.
Anxiety.
Yes.
There's stress there because she feels like she's been trapped.
Is it not just because she's bleeding, and that if the bleeding stops, all of this guilt, anxiety, and everything is going to go away?
No, not exactly.
Wow.
She's come to that place of realization that whatever happened, she's in a better spot to process now. That is why she's mentioning all these things verbatim. In the past, she was having fun. So she was never depressed. But now reality has dawned on her. So the best thing we can do now is to ensure that this lady comes before a clinical counselor. Besides treating herself well medically, she must see a counselor who would take time to observe and also use tools that are needed to take, you know, her history directly. Putting the two together, they will be able to ascertain where exactly she is. Level of depression, anxiety, stress, post, you know, trauma, all these will be seen, and then she can be helped because she said, I feel like ending it. Yes, there are also some suicidal ideations, so she needs to be taken in and managed completely by a counselor.
You know how people have the impression that she is not supposed to be emotionally attached to a man. In this week, I came across a TikTok video, and this lady was laughing at her friend who had called her married boyfriend to check on him. And this girl was boldly saying that, hey, you're dating a married man and you're checking on him. You're supposed to receive his phone calls when he calls you and be there for him, and after that, forget about him, because he's going on to the other people. Most people forget that you could actually be deeply in love with another human being just for being in love's sake, whether they are married or unmarried. It can happen, deeply fall in love with a married man. My lady, since you're a woman and also a doctor, I would want to engage you on that level. As a woman, if you find yourself in a situation like that, how do you keep yourself sane in order not to get brokenhearted, in order not to go crazy?
Don't put yourself in that situation.
At all. But it happens to us.
Yeah, it happens.
The thing with love, it happens to you, bum.
You know, sometimes you have to think with your mind, not your heart. A lot of women think with their hearts. Oh, I love him. And so what? He's married. He has 3 kids. He's not going to leave his wife for you. Let's be honest. He's not going to do it no matter what. You can have even 3 kids for him. He's not going to leave her. Do you get my point? So don't put yourself in that situation in the first place. You find yourself there, take yourself out. So one thing I'm proud of her for was for breaking up with him and walking away.
I was coming to that. I think that she coming out, she probably didn't know the emotional implications. Because now she's suffering. Now she's still in love with the man, and the man has disappointed her, and she's also brokenhearted. And together, she's getting depressed out of it.
Trust me, one thing she did best was to break up with him. No two ways about it. She is going through a lot because of a lot of things, hormonal changes, what she's experiencing, like counselor mentioned, depression, anxiety. She's scared. Imagine your period should come for 8 months. We're going to panic over it. Even if it's a month, we'll be scared. How much more 8 months? That's a lot of time.
Of course.
Okay, she's losing blood by the day. Have you thought of the complications she may be going through? Right. Hormonal changes that come with post-abortion, right? All those things are things she's battling with. And suddenly a man that was present, caring for her, doing so much for her, is suddenly out of the picture, right? That's a lot of changes to happen at the same time to just one individual. I mean, you only have a tiny brain to process all that information. So if she doesn't have the mental support and emotional support of friends, people she can trust, that's where she'll find herself.
Imagine she's even not telling the truth to the doctors. How can she even admit to her sister or her mother or somebody that loves her that this is what I'm going through?
That is one thing I fault her for. Looking at the fact, she even mentioned that she works at a hospital.
A health center, yes.
I can only imagine, like, are you telling me there was nobody to confide in? You go to the person and tell the person, it's not me, it's my friend. I'm coming to you with my friend's problem. I get that a lot. And honestly speaking, it's not my business. I don't care.
Of course.
It can be your sister, your auntie's problem, no problem. Just tell me, let me tell you my best advice. She could have spoken to someone. They could have given her better advice. She was already 3 months pregnant when she went in for a pill. That's not the right method of abortion for a 3 months pregnancy.
What are you supposed to do?
So you're supposed to first have a scan. For 3 months onwards, it's supposed to be a surgical procedure to take out the pregnancy, not medical.
Thank you.
Things our young ladies don't know.
You do not know.
Exactly. So when you look at unsafe abortions, mostly it's the young girls, teenagers, people with low financial resources, people who don't have the educational background. They don't know, they just find themselves, I'm pregnant today and tomorrow it must end. As to how, I don't know.
No.
I had someone who came in, she said she found out she was pregnant yesterday and today she had done an abortion. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Did you even do a scan to find out if even the pregnancy was inside your womb?
At all.
What if it was an ectopic? What if it was an ectopic? Or even intra-abdominal? Then what happens to you? You are rushed in half dead, and when we ask you what happened, you insist you are a virgin. You've not had sex before.
That's what they do?
Yes.
Can you imagine?
We had a patient we almost lost at the last hour. This lady insists, like, you know, she came in with rights, lower abdominal pain. So it's two things. Ectopic appendicitis. This lady swore heaven and earth that she's a virgin. Nobody has gone down there.
Her parents were there?
No, they were not there. But she swore heaven and earth that she's a virgin and nobody has been there, so I'm not the one going there. And I said, no problem, girl. Fine. So, appendicitis. We told her we are prepping you for surgery, and I was saying, Auntie, I'll confess the truth. I've done an abortion. And it was an ectopic.
Jeez. You were able to save her?
Well, luckily, yes.
Thankfully. We thank God for people like you.
But she could have gone. Like, I think about her every single time. And every time a woman comes and she starts to say, just say the truth. I'm not there to judge you.
No.
So what? You've had sex. You are pregnant. You don't want it.
It's not your job to judge. It's your job to help them heal. My job is to keep you
alive. And besides, even if I open my mouth to spill out the beans, you can take me up medico-legally.
Yes.
You can come against, I told this doctor I was ready. She went to tell everybody. I'm done. My career is over.
Yes.
But a lot of women, I don't know. I think they just don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have anybody to trust, you can trust your doctor with all the details, because for them, ethically, they are not allowed to spill. And if they spill, it is not anything you can let go. You can actually take them on legally. I've made a great point, right? Know this and live. Know this and live. So back to you in the studio. Who had a question? Or?
Yes, I have a question. She made mention of there's a law governing the doctors when it comes to abortion.
Yeah.
What about the pharmaceutical companies? They are also selling the abortion pills to people out there. Is there any law governing them?
Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, it's a criminal offense to aid, administer, or give abortion medications to anybody. So let's say a woman gets pregnant and the guy doesn't want it, and he goes to get the pills for her. He and her are both going to prison.
Okay.
And they will actually be charged for second-degree felony.
Okay.
Yes. It's a huge crime in Ghana. But I think it's hidden. People don't admit it. I mean, look at it. She also wants the abortion, so she's not going to report him.
Yeah.
Right? And like you said, yes, there are laws. That's why the drugs are not sold in the open. But they are dealers.
Thank you very much for your contributions and questions. Back to you, my lady Gifty. if I'm nursing a broken heart, is there a manual on how to deal with broken heart 101? Or 24 steps to healing from a broken heart? Or how not to love him again, how not to love her again? If we want to talk about the matters of her heart, we're not out of here today. My lady, those of us dealing with broken hearts, those of us anticipating a broken heart, how do we deal with it?
Miss Nancy, we are human beings.
We are.
As far as we live on this planet Earth, there is no perfection.
Not at all.
Things will happen to you that probably you did not even ask for. And this one, she asked for it.
Yes.
It's unfortunate that she asked for it. So if some will happen without you even asking for, then we need to prepare ourselves that when we take that decision, the consequences are these, and we must be ready to follow through. But how can she help herself? The lady in question, she should ensure that she will hold fast to what is there right now. There should be that mindfulness that at least from the story on Confessions, we've not heard that she's been sacked.
No,
So she has her job. So she should make do of that one. Let that one bring her some satisfaction.
Hey, madam, you know some broken heart when you are in the office, somebody is asking you good morning before you know you are crying.
It means that the man have gone, but all is not lost. She still has her job.
Yeah.
And on her job, she would meet a lot of people. Patients will come in, you will also meet them. So at the end of the day, she should ensure to develop a social network for herself, you know. And psychologists will say some are your constituents, you know. Maybe by virtue of she wearing that white dress in that clinic, some people, nurses, doctors, and even cleaners love her for how she appears.
Yes.
These are your constituents.
Yes.
You also have comrades, those you went to school with. I mean, hook up.
Yes.
You know, to ventilate.
Yes.
But more especially, the one I want to recommend for her is the confidant.
Yes.
She mentioned that you should have that social network.
Yes.
This may not be your mother and father.
It may not be.
It may not be, but there is that one person out there that you can vent to. You can tell him that, I dated this man and his son and his younger brother. As rotten as it is, you can
are confident
say
to say it.
and you know they will not judge you. Okay? So our young ladies and our young men, all is not over. We will advise you to make the right choices. But if it goes south, please do know that you have something you can hold on to. At least she is breathing. Bleeding for 8 months and she didn't die. Yeah, she has
still
that
have life.
one. At least she has that one to be happy about. And then accept the situation and find good medical help.
Doc, I want to give this young lady hope. Now we're telling her to go out, meet more people, and fall in love again. And hopefully this time it's not a married man pretending not to be one. And then understand that bad things happen to good people. And good things happen to even bad people. You'll be surprised. These are the issues of our lives. Doc, is it possible for her to get help medically?
Yes, of course.
So people can bleed for 8 months and they can still be healed?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. She just has to come to the hospital. She hasn't. She hasn't made that effort.
She said she's been to the hospital. She just didn't tell truthfully.
Exactly. So it's a puzzle now.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sitting in a consulting room. You come in, you don't confess. Maybe she actually was asked and she denied.
Yeah.
And the doctor took her word for it.
Now, it looks like we've been having this conversation about the lady, and the man who was married and kept it a secret and decided to act as if he's unmarried and gave this woman time, attention, money, and hope of becoming the one with her. For men out there, Doc, what should we do with these guys? They are lying to us.
Yeah.
They are causing us to have abortions. She probably would have kept this pregnancy if the man was single and available, hoping they could have a family together.
Miss Nancy, I don't think if he had told her he was married, she was going to have agreed. So he had to do what he had to do to get what he wanted to get. But I think the lady was a little too naive.
She was a little too naive.
Like the lady mentioned, there are red flags you should see. Sometimes, like I said, women think with their hearts and not their brain. So at some point, you need to know when to say no. These are red flags. That's why if you have someone, like she mentioned, a confidant, someone you share things with, that's why I tell you that, are you sure? They can see things you don't see because you are crazy in love.
Too good to be true.
Exactly, you are crazy in love. But they can point out, no, this looks suspicious. This looks fishy. I think you should ask about this. And that's where problems will begin to spark up, right? And then the person is going to be busted eventually.
And these days, we are afraid our friends would do other things to us. So even when we are in love, we don't want people to know whom we are in love with. Oh, God, so if nobody knows you in Ghana, it's because I'm protecting us. But imagine I find out eventually that what I was protecting wasn't even for me.
Yeah. Don't you think it's because maybe they are ashamed of what they are in love with? For instance, if it's a married man and she's shy to tell people this is him, it's because she knows she's doing the wrong thing. Right? If you're not ashamed, then why are you hiding him?
And sometimes people are not physically, proud of their choices of spouses. My lady, people actually know that if my friends see this pot-bellied husband of mine, I call them the teddy bear man. I love man with skin and all of that. So if your husband is pot-bellied, I love him for you. Teddy bear man. Some people are physically not comfortable with pointing out their spouses. And that is why in Akan they say, Odinabacha nebetro on fanin sanctuary. Onye. My lady, about that.
Miss Nancy, whatever appeals to you, go for it. But it is not by force to go for what does not appeal to you. Whatever you find on the market that you want to purchase and take home, when you see it on your countertop, will you be proud that I, Gifty Deborah, got this thing from the market or the supermarket to my home? Will I be proud of it? Will I feel confident that, hey, yeah, Gifty, you bought the right thing? Will you be?
So people should
ask yourself
these considerations before they choose their spouses.
Before you choose them. So as human beings, I think we all have values we go by and principles. So some want it tall, some want it short, some want it
wide,
teddy bear.
Teddy bear.
So you need to know what you like. And then you can show them to others and say, this is my man.
Proudly.
This is my woman. And since in this case, the thing does not belong to her, she can't. That intuition would tell her that the man's age and what he has and he can take care of you in school. Sabe, abranti ntime nyesa. A young man cannot do that fully. They can support, may support, but not fully as comforting as she had it. So that should tell you he's a grown man. And probably he would have families. Yeah. So she kept it away from everybody.
Awesome. My lady, we're wrapping up the show. So medical advice to all young ladies out there in this situation and more.
All right, so I think as a woman and a medical doctor, from my years of practice, the best thing I would tell a woman is that if you are not ready to conceive, please, please, and please do family planning.
Yes.
don't leave yourself. A lot of them will tell you that, okay, it's a committed relationship. Like, I trust him. He won't pick an STI. Oh, the guys are laughing, oh.
Yeah.
That's a very dangerous laughter.
Oh, yes.
Meaning
They don't believe in committed relationship. They're either married or not, right?
Okay. So it means if our gentlemen here are laughing, imagine what people out there, the men out there are thinking.
Yeah.
So once, a lot of them think maybe it's, we are committed, I'm with you, it's just us. So we're not going to get HIV, we're not going to get STIs, so it's okay. Our only concern will be pregnancy, fine. Fine, because of the complications that can come along with abortions, okay? So fair enough. Family planning is your best bet, all right? And once again, if it's a relationship where you're not sure of the man's fidelity, please and please and please insist on using protection.
Thank you. My lady, the emotional part, counseling, last words to this young lady.
She should accept the situation and be committed to herself. That she would, going into that relationship, have not yielded any good thing for me. So from henceforth, I will not go about dating someone's husband. I would look for my own young man, my age, or a man that I can call my own. All right? So that I would start life with this person. Number two, she should not be anxious. God is able to do all things. Right now, she may be feeling that I may not be able to give birth again, but she should trust God that when she have her own husband, God is able to help her out of it, and she should strictly adhere to this commitment to herself. And please don't go trying any other thing. We beg you. The best place is the hospital where you are. Find help there.
My take home from this episode of Confessions is everyone needs a confidant. And that confidant may not necessarily be a family member, may not be your mother, your father, or your sibling. It could be a professional counselor. It could be a friend that you trust. Listen, everybody needs a place to vent. And if you have no confidant, we are here. Confessions.